Hello friends, today we will discuss about the Factory Act 1948. This act has received the assent of the Governor General of India in September 23rd, 1948, and this act came into force in 1st April 1949. Today we discuss about the objectives of the Factory Act, some of the important definitions and the provisions, some of the important provisions of the Factory Act. Let me say first about the objectives of the Factory Act. This act we come into effect after independence. Before independence, there was a clashes between the employer and employee for so many causes. So this act came into force with the main objective to protect the safeguard the interest of the workers, to see the safety of the workers, to see the provisions of the workers and to regulate the conditions of the work. Let us come to some definitions. This is factory. Factory means a place where 10 or more people are working using a manufacturing process. Manufacturing process is a process where repairing, altering, finishing, packing, grinding, all sort of transforming, transmitting. So all these sort of works are to be going on. Adult means the person who has completed his 18th years of age. We call that he is an adult. Child, the person who has who has not completed his 15th year of age, we call that is child. These are the provisions. We will cover the provisions of health, provisions of safety, provisions of welfare, annual leave with wages, working conditions, employment of young persons one by one. Let me first discuss about the health provision. First thing is the cleanliness. All the workroom of the factory must be clean. The floors, the benches of the workroom must be dust free. Every week the floors of the room must be washed using disinfectant. All the effective arrangement must be made for the disposal of waste and effluents, if any, in the factory due to the manufacturing process. All the workrooms of the factory must be free from the dust and fume as far as practically possible. Regarding overcrowding, no workroom in the factory should be overcrowded. Minimum space provided for a worker to work is 4.2 cubic meter. Light, whether artificial or natural, must be sufficiently provided to each workroom. The glazed windows must be there, skylight must be there. It should be kept clean, by which the light can come to the workroom and the worker can do the work easily. Drinking water. There must be drinking water facilities in the factory. So the drinking water facility is easily accessible, and all the drinking water points must be marked as drinking water point. Latrine and urinals. There must be sufficient latrine and urinals provided in the factory. The number of latrine and urinals has been prescribed by the government, and all the latrine and urinals must be kept clean and hygienic and must be ventilated, properly ventilated. Spittoons. The workroom in the factory premises, there must be sufficient number of spittoons. Spit in the spittoon. If anyone spit outside the spittoon, he may be fined up to ₹5. Then comes the safety. The fencing of machinery. All the dangerous part of any machine, the transmission machineries, the prime mover of the machine, and the headrests and tailrests of the water turbine, that must be properly fenced. The person, those who are work on near machinery in motion, he must be wearing tight fitting clothes. He must have a trained person and must wear the tight fitting clothing. No young persons, no women workers are allowed to work on near machinery in motion. That in the employment of young persons on dangerous machines, the young person who no young person are allowed to work on dangerous machine unless he has got sufficient training on that machine. Second, he must have worked under an adult experienced worker. In the factory, the all the hoist and lifts that must be adequately maintained, that must be examined at least once in 6 months. The hoist and lift must be sound mechanical construction. It must be tightly fitting with the gates. All the lifting machine, chain, ropes, lifting tackles, it must be adequately maintained at least once in a year. The pressure plants, the pressure level, that must be must not exceed the safe value. Or stairs and means to assess the different pressure, it should not be slippery. It should be in good working condition. The safety. Let us discuss about the safety points. Some other safety points are there. The pits, sumps, openings in floor, etc. that must be confined. All these pit chambers that must be confined. Excess, no person is allowed to carry the excessive weight as per his capacity. It might cause injury to him. To protect the eyes of the workers, suitable goggles or effective screen must be provided to each worker. There must be sufficient precaution to be taken whenever the dangerous fumes are to be present in the factory. If inflammable dust, gas, etc. is there, that should not be taken into accumulate, that should be confined. In case of fire, if fire is there in the factory, there must be a fire warning signal. And all these the doors, unlocked doors are there, which must have an open access to outside the workroom. Let us discuss about the welfare of the workers. Regarding washing facilities, all the workers must be provided with the washing facilities, and that place must be kept clean and hygienic. Facilities for sitting, there must be adequate facilities for sitting. One can sit without hampering the work if opportunity occurs. There must be a first aid appliances, there must be a well equipped first aid appliance working. There must be a canteen, shelter, restroom, lunch icon also in there in factory. If the women workers exceeds 30, there must be a crèche. Below 6 years, children can come and they can play, and mothers will go for work. And a welfare officer is deputed if the workers exceeds more than 500. Let us discuss about the working hours. The weekly hours, no worker should work more than 48 hours in a week. Weekly holiday, Sunday is the holiday. If anyone works on Sunday, then he must be provided immediately before 3 days or after 3 days of Sunday as a day on holiday. Daily hours, no worker should be allowed to work for more than 9 hours on any day. For interval for rest, for every 5 hours work, one can take the rest of half an hour. Half an hour rest is required for every continuously 5 hours of work. If a worker works for more than 48 hours in a week or more than 9 hours in a day, then he must be paid extra wages, which is twice the normal rate of wages. there is a register, and that register mention all the name of the workers, their nature of work, their team, etc. Now we come to the employment of young persons. Below 14 years, no child is allowed to work in the factory. After attaining the age of 14 years, he has to submit a certificate of fitness by a prescribed certifying surgeon. The working hours for children, they can work up to 4.5 hours in a day, and they are not allowed to work after 10 p.m. up to 6 am. 10 p.m. to 6 am, they are not allowed to work in the factory. There is a register for the child workers, their name, their address, their nature of work also mentioned in that register. This is annual leave with wages. If a worker works for 240 days or more in a calendar year, then in the subsequent calendar year he is allowed to take a leave. If he is a child worker, 1 day leave for every 20 days of work, every 15 days of work performed, and if he is an adult worker, then he will take leave 1 day leave for every 15 days of work performed. Thank you.